What is good, everybody? We are live. Welcome into another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. This is episode 39. We got a full panel again today. Loving it. We're doing it live. So whether you're watching live, make sure you hop in that comment section and we'll bring your comments up on the screen and address them if they are questions. If you're watching on demand, hit a comment section and we'll be replying to those. We're going to go around the horn and introduce ourselves. We got a good show here planned for you today. I've got some pretty decent topics, if I do say so myself. It becomes a challenge to not repeat what our parent company, No DQ, does the night before, but I think we got a good one here for you guys. So we're going to throw it over to Noah first. Noah is here. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. Good to see you once again on a fine Wednesday eve ahead of All Elite Wrestling, game shows, and sleeping. It's been a nice, steady day of work from home, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and I'm ready to go. So you know me, Papa Gino. Let's get right into it whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Always happy to have you here. And yeah, we're going to get into it. We got C-Rod joining us. C-Rod with the at Backlash shirt. And how you doing today?
I am still reeling from the latest recording of the You Good podcast where Oofman and Papa Gino stopped by to roast me on the MCU and my MCU rankings. But other than that, I am here and excited that the Beast is back. I've already started looking at SummerSlam tickets, so you know we'll get into it. But I'm happy to be here.
Are they on sale already?
SummerSlam, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Because I know you were talking about that even before Brock Lesnar came back from his cup of coffee retirement, but we will be getting into that. Dave Scheffler is with us. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Gino. I got my CVV shirt, my Chris Van Vliet shirt on from our night there, but looking forward to the topics. You picked some good ones.
Thank you so much. All right, and Oofman is here as the VOG, as we call it, the voice of God. If he shows back up, we will bring him back in. And speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
Say his name.
Say his name. All right, Oofman, how you doing today?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, doing good. Yeah, once again, thank you, C-Rod, for letting me participate on your channel, and looking forward to going on again, talking mental health or talking movies, and as the lawyers say, my tag team partner over there, Papa Gino, you are more than welcome to come on Oofman Entertainment's Gavin with Oof series, brother. So but it's good to see everybody, and yeah, looking forward to these topics.
Awesome. And yeah, you know, beyond wrestling, I have other passions. One of those is watching and talking about movies and TV shows. So anytime you pull the string on my back, I will talk until that string runs out, and I've got a long string on that, as we know when I talk wrestling. But yeah, we'll have to get some of that. Check out C-Rod's episode when that finally does come out. I'm looking forward to seeing how much he censors me and my freedom of speech. All right, thank you so much for that, everybody. Again, don't forget to show up in the live chat. We will display those comments. So, WrestleMania, Night 2. Brock Lesnar, Obafemi. What could be argued as the true main event. If CM Punk and Roman Reigns didn't deliver, I think there would be a huge uproar on the internet for that Brock and Oba should have gone on last. But they did deliver. But still, Brock and Oba had this big fight feel essence to it, almost like the Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano fight from this past weekend. Now, after the match, he left his boots and gloves in the ring, and usually that means he's retired. He, broke character, however you want to put it, by crying, hugging Paul Heyman, yada, yada, yada. And he, for all intents and purposes, was retired. And I heard on CVV, speaking of Dave mentioning CVV, like right after that happened, he thought that he went into talking about how Brock is this master negotiator, right? So that maybe he did that so that they have to pay him more money for the potential any future match. As we know, it's not just going to be Gunther straight up like we thought it was going to be. obviously leading to an Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar rematch, which I'm very scared of, if I can be honest, but we'll get to that. Now, I really hope it doesn't lead to Oba losing. He already got F5 4 times, which is more than he's been on his back the entire build-up to WrestleMania. Like, bringing him back to get his win back, I just don't see how that's helpful at all. I'd rather him stay retired and then have him beat Oba and then wrestle Gunther in a retirement match, personally, because you did all this work and now potentially erasing it. But with that being said, do we think that Brock Lesnar tricked TKO with this and did that to, oh, well, you know, I'm technically retired. If you want me to come out of retirement, you're going to have to raise that price? Or is TKO just continuing to show their true colors and kind of lying to us as fans and trying to pull the rug out from under us and do whatever they can to squeeze more money out of us? Maybe it's one, maybe it's the other, maybe it's both. No, I'm going to throw it right over to you. How do you see this, and are you worried that Brock is going to beat Oba?
Well, like I said, much like what Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes did, they had a trilogy. I could definitely see this becoming a best of three. I can see Brock Lesnar beating Obafemi, whether disqualification or whether by submission. And that's a key thing we got to consider here. Obafemi has not been tested on the mat. We have not seen if he could survive or escape the Kimura lock. Can he survive an F5? Yes. Can he surpass 4 F5s? Maybe. Can he do even more F5s? Ask again later. For me, this definitely feels like a change of pace, and in my opinion, Brock Lesnar has always been a master negotiator. But for TKO's sports-centric presentation, you need the best combat sports athlete on the planet, not named Ronda Rousey, to be represented in your product, in your company, in your promotion to get that spark back. With WWE going through the WrestleMania, post-WrestleMania lull, they needed someone to bring some buzz feed back to fans that aren't casually engaged in WWE. So what do? Brock Lesnar. Outside Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, there wasn't a bigger name or a bigger match across the entire 2-week span of WrestleMania built appropriately as a sports-centric feel. And right now, Obafemi's been floundering in mid-card squashing territory. He hasn't had a big way forward since WrestleMania. So maybe this is a way to rejuvenate Obafemi, but also re-encourage people that want to invest in TKO. We still have Brock Lesnar. Now, whether or not Brock Lesnar is playing TKO, TKO is playing Brock, or TKO and Brock are in bed together playing everybody, which I think is more so the fact, because at the end of the day, they're both money grabs. It remains to be seen. But yeah, I definitely sense that Brock and Oba, too, much like how Rock and Cena was not once in a lifetime, I expect Brock and Oba to do at least one more match even after this. Nothing is settled with those two. And as long as TKO keeps paying, Brock Lesnar will keep fighting under 10 minutes. Although I expect this match to go longer than 5 minutes. And you are muted.
Well, thank you for bringing up the once in a lifetime that turned into twice in a lifetime. I was at once in a lifetime, and the only reason I wasn't thoroughly upset about it being twice in a lifetime was because they had to correct their wrong of giving The Rock the win in the first place. And
they built over a year, which I'll give you.
Yeah, the build over a year was fun, but if it led to a Cena losing again, like, what would have been the point? Like, I think that they realized that they had made a mistake, and I hope that they're not feeling like they made a mistake here. Trilogy or not, Obafemi is supposed to be looking like this monster and potentially even losing to he beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes, which means every open challenge needed to be less than that. And what's going to happen here with this next match? Like, maybe it's an opportunity to have it go longer, and we'll see, like, he doesn't have to beat everybody in under 5 minutes at that point, because if you beat Brock in under 5 minutes, you literally can't go longer than that with anybody else. Otherwise, it's like, what are we doing here? But thank you so much for that, because that wasn't something I was even thinking of. But so whether it's Vince, whether it's TKO, it seems like they are trying to do this. We'll just repeat things, try and get some more money out of the situation. If it doesn't close the show, then I don't really see kind of why putting it on that card. Like, Italy's going to sell out anyway, so, and the crowd's going to be hot, so I don't feel like it's needed there. Kind of like some of the other things that might not be necessary. And I don't want to encourage TKO to stretch things out even more because they've been doing that for the better part of 2 years now. But thank you so much for that, Noah. We'll throw it over to C-Rod now. C-Rod, did Brock trick TKO into paying him more money for what essentially he was already going to be doing? Or is TKO trying to trick the fans to get us hyped and do these cheap pop things, or is it a little bit of both? And are you excited or worried about Brock potentially beating Oba then and making him look weaker?
Just say all the above.
All the above.
The classic D
Well,
twice.
I going back to WrestleMania, I am one of the people who wanted Brock Lesnar to win. I wanted to see, a trilogy of matches going into SummerSlam. I even said potentially that being Brock's retirement. I don't actually believe that this is any sort of work. It seems to me as this could have potentially been a storyline. It could have been something that Paul Heyman cooked up. We have to remember that Paul and Seth, they just cooked up the false knee blowing just a few months ago that that caught everybody off guard. And Brock is already a personal person where he's not going to come out and he's not going to be in the media. And it's really easy to use Brock to run something like this because he's not going to leak anything. Personally, I loved it. The only thing that didn't make sense to me, and the only thing that could say that maybe this wasn't the plan, is the wasted open challenge that we saw where it was one fight against Otis. Then all of a sudden, nobody wanted to fight him. I think Noah mentioned before how there were no stakes. And then the next week, boom, Brock is back. Whatever it might be, I'm here for it. I was jumping at the screen, throwing my fist around. I was super excited to see Brock back. Who knows? Maybe he goes longer than SummerSlam. He's never actually said, he's retired. I know that there was a symbolism there with the boots, but there was nothing official. He never came out and also said that SummerSlam is going to be my retirement. These are all speculations and rumors that everybody kind of, you've said before. We make up our own storylines and then we're disappointed when they don't happen. So for something like this to be a surprise, to be a shock, no matter how you look at it, I was very excited, and I think it keeps a very interesting storyline going. You can sit here and critique Obafemi. One of my favorite things to keep seeing on the internet right now is how he was 0-5 in NXT Black, and the 5 people that beat him aren't even on the roster anymore. Nope. So whether he's squashing Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes, or if they go longer and do something for 10 or 15, or he loses to Brock and then beats him again, I don't really care about wins and losses. That's never been anything for me. It's what's entertaining and what's on the show, and I'm hyped in here for it.
Thank you very much. So, that's an opinion I haven't heard. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Somebody that wanted Brock to go over Oba at WrestleMania. So thank you for that and sharing that. Yeah, it's just
you heard it from me. I said it on this show.
Yeah, well,
it was it, folks.
It's recorded on Major Push Wrestling, so you've heard it before.
And to be fair, John Cena was the one that put the nugget out there for Brock Lesnar's retirement on Chris Finley's podcast, like I had his retirement, before anybody thought Brock Lesnar retirement in the same sentence. Just putting it out there.
Fair enough. And if Cena did it and said it, then I can't complain about it. So we'll throw it over to Dave now. Dave, same questions to you. Did Brock trick TKO? Is TKO tricking the fans? Are you worried that this might hurt Oba?
I'm not sure. I don't think it'll hurt Oba. I think, and we're going to talk about the youngsters having their comeuppance, I guess, if we have time, but I kind of am siding with Noah on this. I think this is maybe as they call a pivot, because all the talk was Brock facing Gunther at SummerSlam in his hometown. And with everything that happened that night, the boots and everything, I kind of believed it at first, and then especially believed it when Gunther was moved to face Cody Rhodes. Because now, all right, that's not happening. maybe he is really retired, because I was on Chris's side. I kind of thought, I wasn't sure if he was retiring for sure or not, but then a couple of things happened that made me think he was. I do think that there's going to be a trilogy, and I also agree with Chris. Chris says he thinks that this could go past SummerSlam. I believe 100% it's going to go past SummerSlam now, because I kind of think that Brock and the money and the offers, Saudi loves him. I think he's around till WrestleMania next year, at least, because I don't see him passing up a payday in Saudi. So I think he's going to go on. It's just a matter, and it was mentioned on the review. I think that would be the place for him and Brock, him and Gunther, to have a match as WrestleMania in Saudi, possibly. I think this is going to be this is definitely again going to be a trilogy. I'm afraid, like you, Gino, I think Oba's going to lose the second one, but I think it's going to build to where maybe it's him and Brock at SummerSlam, and that'll be where he gets over on Brock at that point. And I thought the only way this may have been already planned is that possibly Gunther beats Cody and Brock says, I want the gold. And then it could be at SummerSlam. That's the only thing that could happen that changes my mind. And then if that happened, then it could be match versus career at SummerSlam, him versus Gunther for the championship. And that's only if Gunther beats Cody. The other thing I was thinking is, we got Cody Rhodes, we got Roman Reigns, and we got Brock Lesnar at Italy. None of them want to they either all want to have the first match or the last match. Who's going to not be in the first and the last match at this point? Because one of them is not going to get a main spot at either end of the show. That's going to be interesting too, because Brock, he always wants to get out of there if he's not going to be main event. And I can't see the main event not being Roman, because Roman's usually main event when he wrestles. So I guess we'll have to see that. But those are my views on it.
Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate that. It's just, with all the build up to WrestleMania, and the term does not make sense, or it doesn't make sense, is
illogical.
Right. It's been thrown around a lot with some of the stuff. Whether I agree or disagree with those points is irrelevant here, but I'm just struggling to find how this makes sense. Right? If they're doing this all just to work, like, it's not like you tricked Oba. You could have just attacked him from behind and not been retired. The only people that are being tricked right now, and I don't think it has to do so much with kayfabe as much as it's just like what are we doing? The tickets were already sold for Brock Lesnar's for WrestleMania Night 2. So it's not like people were buying tickets to then watch Brock's retirement match. It's not like then there's some value in the shirt you bought. It goes up because it was Brock Lesnar's so it just doesn't. I just don't understand where we're going from here. If the idea is to build a new star in Oba, and then we have that, now we're taking it back. It's no gives these backsies, no takes these backsies. What? And then he's just gonna what? And Cody's gonna beat Gunther, and then all of a sudden everything he did to beat John Cena and AJ Styles is thrown out the window. What are we?
What are we doing here? You're what
Gino,
you're stutter stepping.
Gino,
That's what's happening. You're stutter stepping.
Cody's not
I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
That's why he has to lose.
Accurate.
I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
There's the other thing that makes me think it was not planned. Was also, Chris mentioned it, that there was no mention of retirement, but in kayfabe there was, because Adam Pearce said to Paul in the back, I have the retirement papers. But then supposedly the name on the contract is Brock Lesnar, he said, not Lesnar.
I think that was a slip of the tongue, though. Unless they,
I think that was a slip of the tongue, but it was hilarious, though.
Yeah,
it was a hilarious botch by Paul.
Paul is so good; he doesn't need to go back and fix it. He just keeps talking through it, and some people might be like Brock Lesnar, say it again, and it's No, but when they show the video package of that moment, I guarantee they say the name reads Brock, and then they like cut it or something like that. But so we'll see what happens. Either way, like I'm here for more Oba and Brock. I just feel like the way they got to there, it's like a long walk for a short drink of water on this, especially for the event that it's going to be at. Like people are going to Clash in Italy. It's for Italy's first PLE. You literally could book Otis versus freaking Ivar.
I mean, the card is already star-studded. The card's already amazing.
Right, but my argument is that it doesn't need to have anything amazing about it, and people would still go because they're gracious.
It could have the mini Danhausens. The mini Danhausens.
It's the audience that makes the show matter, not the superstars in this case. Let's call it what it is. If it wasn't for international appeal, we might as well be calling this the WrestleMania we should have given you Saturday night with interest in what you got Sunday. While you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, Gino, I'll tell you what I told JJ. Shout out to Bible Studios. Stop trying to put logic and WWE in the same damn sense when TKO doesn't give a one iota of your freaking 2 cents that are more valuable than sync that used to be made for pennies while they're not in circulation anymore. They don't give a damn. They're about the moments. They got more pops than Michael Jackson did his entire damn career now with a 7-digit profit.
And speaking of my 2 cents, it's actually upwards of $350 total that backlash with all the things I bought and all the drinks and all that stuff.
You poor non-frugal fool.
I had fun. And I loved it.
As long as you had fun.
I didn't buy that stupid shirt that C-Rod has. I bought the cool one with the Tampa silhouette and one that you could actually feel comfortable wearing. Why am I
taking the strays here?
Sorry, you just went like this.
Unbelievable.
I had to get my replica undisputed title that's no longer undisputed, very much is disputed.
Oh, there it is.
But I didn't get the big one. Those are, I'm asking for that for Christmas. But anyway, we'll throw it over to the belt collector himself, Oofman. Oofman, if you're still with us, what do you think about the question? Did Brock trick TKO? Is TKO just playing us, and are you worried about Oba potentially losing?
Well, again, when Mania happened and Brock did all that stuff, I was very skeptical. We were all, shout out to Aaron, the boss man, No DQ. We were all checking out No DQ, seeing what he was reporting. And when they never made an official announcement that he retired, I was like, okay, this is Brock Lesnar. He's going to come back when he wants to, if he's bored at home. And think back a couple years ago when he's reading the magazine backstage and he's like, I don't even watch the show. He comes when he wants to do it. As far as Oba losing, we're doing predictions to, I'm not doing, no, that's 7 9 89, I'm sorry. But early predictions, I guess, for Clash in Italy. Yeah, I have Lesnar going over match number 2 to get to that trilogy that you're all saying. And yes, I think it will happen at SummerSlam, to quote Bret Hart. And I think all eyes have to be on Clash in Italy, because if Gunther beats Cody, that makes everything interesting, because after Oba beat Lesnar, what else could you do with him? I mean, this Chris mentioned the open challenge. Yeah, but that was monstrously lame. Like, really? You just had this guy beat the quote-unquote unbeatable beast, and the best you can do is not only an open challenge, but again, no disrespect to the guys he competed against, but these are the names you throw at him. It's like, it just kind of reminded me of when Lesnar defeated Taker, the streak. He ended the streak. He disappeared for a little bit, and he came back and he murdered John Cena to get the undisputed championship. So it's like, okay. And I wasn't angry. Like, okay, if that's what they're going to do with Oba, that he beats Lesnar, he disappears, and then he goes to the SummerSlam to win the title, sure, I was not against that. But you're putting Oba in these lame open challenges. But my happiness in this is now that Lesnar is back and he basically destroyed Oba on Monday, throw the confetti in the air, I think these open challenges are over. So now Oba's going to want revenge, and if it means Lesnar starts to show up on Mondays, cool, and they build it up. Now, as far as having the match so early at Clash in Italy. I hate to say it because I really hate it when I hear the phrase, but it's best for business. TKO is looking for the bottom dollar. Now, you guys are all absolutely correct. Regardless of what was on the card, it could have been, I don't know, it could have been Shawn Michaels come out of retirement versus a broom and the tickets would still sell out. I think it's more on the business side of ESPN. They want the numbers. If they're doing this partnership where every first hour of every PLE is quote unquote free on ESPN, they want the attention, and they know Lesnar brings the attention. I mentioned it a while back where actually I asked Aaron, like, would Brock go to MVP Productions after the whole Ronda fight on this past weekend? Because he is that marquee name. So now that he's back, TKO, WWE, whoever it is, they're like, all right, let's build up. Yes, you guys have said it. Chris said it. The card is stacked for Clash in Italy. Cool. But I think it's the business side of TKO going like, no, we want they're apparently liking the numbers with ESPN, but apparently they want more. So sure, throw in Lesnar versus Oba, and if you build it, they will come. And if you put it on the first, will it? Now the question for everybody is, what do you guys think? Will it be on the free ESPN hour, or will it be part of the quote unquote, let's call it the rest of the card? My bet would be probably maybe it opens the pay-per-view again. Will it? Well, I don't know. I'm all confused. I don't know. I guess we'll find out within the week since the pay-per-view is in 2 Sundays from now. So it's all business about that. So yes, Oba unfortunately is going to lose, but we will get the trilogy at SummerSlam. And then again, let's keep an eye on the World Championship title matches, because what do you do with Oba after that? Does he King of the Ring? Oh, no, not King of the Ring. Sorry. Money in the Bank, I think, is end of September. So sure, you can have him, quote unquote, retire Lesnar at the SummerSlam, then have him go to Money in the Bank, have him win the Money in the Bank, and then cash it who knows when after September. Or do you have him beat Lesnar and he goes immediately straight to a world title match? Because again, what do you do with Oba again after Mania? All right, open challenge, lame. All right, Lesnar gets his win back. Okay, they're 1-1. Let's go to the SummerSlam final match. This is it, Oba versus Lesnar. You have Oba go over, and he does what he did with Cody Rhodes. He shakes his hand and he puts him over and let Brock disappear. And I agree with everybody. Brock will come back, especially for Saudi Mania. You're not going to tell me they're not going to drive a dump truck full of money to his house and go, hey, one match. He's going to be like, sure, and he'll do it. And like you said, maybe it's the first match at Saudi Mania next year, but it's all business. It's all about the bottom dollar. We know TKO, their favorite color is green. So it's all about business. They knew what they were doing. I bought it for like maybe 2 seconds, but then my spider sense was tingling and I'm like, this can't be it. Because once they started this open challenge, it's like, this is what they're having Oba do. And I don't want to say I kind of wish Lesnar returned, but when I saw Aaron's review, like, oh, Brock back, I'm like, good. Open challenge done. Now Oba has quote unquote a direction, and now that all eyes are going to be on SummerSlam. I don't know how the tickets are being sold for that right now, but that's all TKO cares about. So in the end of the day, it's all about business, and TKO is quite aware. And maybe they brought him back after what happened last Saturday, because that is Jake Paul's MVP apparently is competition to UFC. So maybe this is TKO going, F you, Jake Paul. We got Brock Lesnar. Maybe that was it. Maybe Jake Paul was going to contact Lesnar for perhaps showing up for a one and done fight, and then here comes TKO. No, we got him, because apparently Jake Paul is enemy number 1 according to reports backstage. So it's all business, it's all competition, and we know how greedy TKO can get.
Thank you very much for that, Oofman. Yeah, I don't want to be put in a position to defend the open challenges, but at least we didn't have Oba missing from television and being at Backlash. Like, he wasn't even there, and they did like an Oba strut cam instead of a kiss cam. They played his music, and they were bringing up people in the stands who were doing the Oba strut. So he's over. Brock put him over. I just feel like the only thing that can happen out of this is was Oba going to look more strong? No, he's going to look weaker ultimately. And then this means now, if our speculation is correct, he's not going to be in the World Heavyweight Championship picture or the WWE title picture come SummerSlam. And I don't know. It just feels like we're doing this almost in reverse.
Pretty much.
Kind of, you know what I mean?
Brock put Oba over at WrestleMania, but he didn't endorse him. That's a key thing. I think back to Brock and Cody. He put Cody over and he endorsed him, and then he disappeared.
Yeah,
So
but I would
now that's the
argue,
thing.
I would argue that endorsing somebody, a la The Rock and Roman Reigns in 2016 at the Royal Rumble, like doesn't always go to plan. I feel like
No,
we know that it's staged and scripted, and Brock chose to lose to him in 5 minutes. That speaks larger than a handshake and a good sportsmanship from a guy who's a bona fide killer. But I hear what you're saying. I don't want to.
Yeah, but even in the world of today and trying not to use logic, when you not only put someone over but endorse them, again, let's not talk about that Rumble in Philly with Roman, but normally it means, okay, again, even Cody was already over. Just the fact that Lesnar, of all people, endorsed Cody. And just imagine at the SummerSlam, he raises over his arm. And again, like I said, let him disappear because that's August. Then Saudi Mania is not till April. Let him come back like in March, or he just shows up at Saudi Arabia, whatever. But I think Oba getting his arm lifted by Lesnar will mean a lot to him. And again, like you said, yes, I agree with you, Gino. Oba is completely over, but he needs that extra endorsement from Lesnar. And then, dude, put the rocket on him and let him fly.
Takes more than a connection to become a champion, basically. It's world champion, especially, Papagino, even if your name's Oba.
Absolutely, yeah. Agreed right there, yes.
For sure. I just feel like the trajectory isn't maybe going the correct way. And now, potentially, in SummerSlam, in Brock's hometown, he's going to be endorsing somebody
really
else.
It's not really his hometown.
No, but it's where he wrestled in college. And
but
a favorite son.
Again, everybody's making a speculation. He's not from Minneapolis.
No, and Gunther's not from Germany, but when he goes over there, he's their favorite son. So it's like, if the adjacency of it, like John Cena's not from Boston. He's from.
Let's not turn this to a geography lesson. All right, you can go play all you smarter than fifth grader for that or Jeopardy.
Noah's absolutely right. So
Brock's not going anywhere, baby.
Doesn't look like it.
So either way, more Brock Lesnar and WWE television I agree, is a good thing. I just hope that it doesn't come at the expense of one of the young up-and-comers in the industry. And with that down, we're going to move it on to our next topic here. Because there's been a lot of talk about the differences between WWE and AEW since AEW's inception, really. But when WWE was cooking with gas and the bloodline story was in full swing, your 2022, 2023, and AEW had their things going on with CM Punk. At that point, Cody Rhodes was still there. Like, they were doing big things. Jericho wasn't being asked to retire by the fans. Like, there was a lot to love about both. Now it's kind of split into I don't want to use the term tribalism, even though that's what it is, but like, it feels like if you like AEW, you have to say that WWE sucks and vice versa. And a lot of us are wrestling fans as a whole, so we can acknowledge the good and the bad with each because we want them both to succeed. I think that if you want one of these companies to go out of business or fail like that, I don't think you're the wrestling fan that you think you are. Having said that, I want to know what makes for a good wrestling show. Like, we have weekly television or TV tapings. We have potential house shows. We're not going to be really talking about house shows here. But then we have the premium live event pay-per-view weekend format. Now, what makes a good show? And I feel like maybe our answers are going to be different here. So this is why I feel like, if I do say so myself, it's a good topic to discuss because some people might prioritize different things. So whatever you guys think in the comment section, let us know. I'm going to throw it around to the panelists now. What in your mind would makes a good wrestling show? Dave, I'm going to throw it right over to you. What makes a good wrestling show?
That's a great question. And it was a great question you came up with because I think it's a mixture, an even mixture. I think the perfect, which we'd never get a perfect show. I think the perfect show would be a mixture of great wrestling, great storytelling, and maybe a little bit of comedy, because the comedy you kind of get a little cool off moment with it. I mean, we got great wrestling in AEW, great matches. WWE, we got more comedy and more, shenanigans like brawls and pull apart brawls and contract signings.
Aaron's favorite.
But I think if you could get a good even mixture, we see some shows we could get it, but it's a very rare thing. But I just think a good mixture of all three of those would make a perfect show. I think if you mix AEW and WWE together, you probably get a pretty good show of it, minus a couple of the things here and there. But I think that's what my take is just to try to get a good mixture, and you got to get the right creative to provide a good mixture.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave. So you're talking about kind of like a wrestling product as a whole, whether it's a PLE pay-per-view or whether it's a TV taping, like you need that balance of different things. Now, I'm sure some people would argue that you can get good storytelling through good wrestling. Like a good wrestling match has built-in storytelling to the wrestling moves. And I don't want to potentially take what Noah's going to say, because I feel like that might be where his head is at with that. So I will throw it over to Noah to not bury the lead there. Noah, to you, as the person who watches by far the most wrestling on this panel, what makes a good wrestling show to you?
I mean, I've been watching all sorts of different things, wrestling domestically, internationally, Japanese, worldwide, since 1992, exploding on the scene in 2001, 2005, etc. Many elements. It's definitely a level of competition, edge of your seat. You don't expect this to be the definitive result, and when it surprises you, not perpetually the same type of match, and that's the great dichotomy of a wrestling event, because wrestling is competition. Wrestling is showcasing. Wrestling is outsmarting or outworking your opponent, but also trying to convey the idea of, this is the person I want to cheer, person the bad guy. Okay, maybe there's some appeal to him. I think you need those elements of both character and in-ring style, whether you're technical, brawler, aerial, or straight up smash mouth. That also defines a wrestling roster, because with a great wrestling show, you need a dynamic roster. You need people that aren't working the same style every match because the company dictates it, but they allow you to work the style that you want to make each match feel different. There's a reason that I do feel like the only show I watch live every week, to a degree, AEW Dynamite, feels different each week, because maybe the show as a whole you think is similar, but the main event, the closer, always leaves you wanting more. You got to be appealing enough to the point that you wonder what's next for next week. And sometimes it takes an angle, or sometimes it takes a great match to think about, this person could be in the main event again because he's the champion, or this person could be a main eventer. There has to be that level of recognition and potential constantly reinforced every week on your product, in and out of the ring. Comedy is subtle, but I think like a backstage interview with the right type of personality that actually like promotes either a match or something going on in a story, I think helps too. It's one of those things also with AEW. I look at the way they change the dynamic of their showcase. What makes a good wrestling show is trying to make things feel bigger when they need to be, not feeling the same every week regularly. What's the real difference between a PLE and a regular Raw and SmackDown and WWE besides the LED being slightly longer and wider? All right? Call it what it is. The fact that AEW does do the small time and then brings you forward to the big leagues or the big time when it comes to the premier showcase of pay-per-view, I think plays in their favor. Plus the dynamic set. What a crazy concept. I think it's one of those things where you find a balance of what feels enough in the ring to compel to the audience versus what reaches out to everybody when it comes to your biggest stages you want people to invest home in, that defines a good wrestling show. And I think AEW tries to do more of that than WWE, because WWE knows that people are complacent. They could lose Joe Smo, they can gain Cindy from Cincinnati. It doesn't matter to WWE. With AEW, I think they do cater to a certain audience, but they still try and span out when it matters the most on pay-per-views. Now, again, the level of tournaments, level of specials, turn into TVs might be a little bit overkill, but WCW was also a primary holder of those type of things too. Let's call it what it is. But I think for a good wrestling show, you got to have a dynamic roster that can deliver dynamic matches within 2 hours of a weekly television product, at least once, maybe more, no more than 2 times a week, and once a month with straight up a pay-per-view, not pay-per-view and level, B-level, PLE. Hello, Saturday Night's main event. I just think you got to find the right balance of quantity and quality in both your presentation and in both your work ethic. And I think AEW treads that medium more than what I see lately in WWE, which treads the constant.
Thank you so much, Noah. Now, you mentioned something that I was hoping somebody was going to bring up, and I would have had it not been brought up, and that's length. I think, like I discussed last night on C-Rod's podcast about his movies, is that there's a perfect length. For every movie has a perfect length. Sometimes a 2-hour movie can feel like it drags, whereas sometimes a 3-hour movie feels like I could have watched another 30 minutes. And the 3-hour SmackDowns that are now, they're longer than Raw. Let's call it what it is, because Raw is not ending at 11 ever. But on Friday night, you got 3 hours of, and you know, all the ads, obviously, so it probably amounts to the same amount of show, but that just feels like it drags. Now, a 3-hour pay-per-view feels short. So for me, it's almost like the MCU, where your solo movies can be shorter, but those big PLE events give me a little bit more length. But I do feel like there is a limit where it then becomes, now it might be a little too long and things like that. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Noah. I appreciate that, and we love hearing what you have to say on the matter. So thank you so much. I'm going to throw it over to Oofman now. Oofman, if you're still with us, to you, what makes a good wrestling show?
This is a very loaded question, because I think it's a preference for everybody, what you like, what you dislike. As far as for me, I joke about it on Aaron's reviews and other people's things that I see. I type in, at the end of the show, was I entertained? And if the needle's on the yes, then I was entertained. To me, it was a good show. But if it's boring, matches are dull, then it's going to get the vote for no, I was not entertained. So hence it was bad. So, but personally, like to quote what I mentioned on C-Rod's show last night, it's almost like, yeah, again with the MCU, and I use the example, Brett versus Austin. All right, we know Brett is the GOAT. Haha. He is, and we know Austin can go. We know they can do it. So we knew going in, all right, they're going to have a killer match, but it's more than that. What about the story? Well, their story started when Austin started calling out Brett, and then Brett returned. They had their first fight at Survivor Series, and they just kept nibbling at each other until a climax to WrestleMania 13. My opinion, the greatest match in not only WrestleMania history, but in company history, my vote. I said it last night again with the MCU. Endgame is a perfect ending with a beautiful bow, and it was number 3 on my top list of the MCU movies. But it also deals with the story. Go back to 2008. I was sitting in the theater watching Iron Man. I didn't watch the majority of the MCU movies, but once I finally did, it built up to, no pun intended, the Endgame, which was Endgame. So for me, story is really, really involved in there. Even if it's not in your face or it's not heavily, like I have to really write things down. I'm like, all right, this person is feuding with this person. Why are they feuding? As long as they just tell a story like, all right, why is this person feuding with this person? Okay, here's the reason. Cool. Now it's their turn to make it entertaining. We get it to the match. And then again, was I entertained with the final product? That'll equivalent to me being a good show. Yeah, the SmackDowns are 3 hours. I personally believe no wrestling show should be 3 hours. So I'm happy. Dynamite is 2 hours, and it usually flies by. I turn it on. There's Excalibur. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? And then, holy crap, it's the main event. So yay. And so God bless all you guys who watch SmackDown for the 3 hours, because I just can't anymore. I wait till Aaron's reviews and I see what else everyone's talking about, and then I go to YouTube to watch the clips. So that also has it too. And again, I favor AEW a little bit more. Blame Jericho. He's the reason that got me into AEW. And contrary to popular belief, yes, AEW does have storylines. You just have to pay attention and not ridicule it and listen to what's going on. And again,
You're asking too much, Oofman. I'm just gonna say
I
that
am
for the
asking
record.
way too much. Yes, you are correct, Noah.
But
But
thank
like
you
this
for
Sunday,
realizing that there is more to a story than something on a marquee or an overrated cinematography.
exactly. Yeah. So this Sunday is Double or Nothing. I'm excited for it. Cheap plug, doing predictions tomorrow night with No DQ with Aaron and the boys. I'm looking
Nice.
forward to it, but I'm also looking forward to Clash in Italy. So they got me hooked. And again, at the end of the day, when the pay-per-view is over, when we fade out, when we fade to black, I want to answer the question has to get answered. Will get answered. Was I entertained? It's a yes. It's not a. It's a yes. I was entertained, or no, I wasn't. And if I wasn't, then in my eyes, it was a bad show. But if I answer yes, I was entertained, then it was a good show. I don't give it ratings or stars. It's just a was I entertained? At the end of the day, or at the end of the show, was I entertained? Obviously, you guys were at Backlash. You guys know it was great. I went to Full Gear. I thought it was great. But again, just being there adds a little bit more extra pep to it. WrestleMania 35, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, I thought
you poor soul.
it was. Oh man, trust me. When the 3 hit, I looked on my watch. I'm like, damn, 12:30. Okay, and we rushed to the parking lot and got the hell out of there. But in the end of the day, again, I was mostly entertained. The needle was on yes more than it was no. So to wrap it all up, it's storyline progression, the wrestlers involved, but at the end of the day, answering the question, was I entertained?
Yeah, so that's very much like Rotten Tomatoes. Thumbs up, thumbs down. That's it. It's either you liked
Basically,
it or you didn't
yeah.
like it. Exactly.
I mean,
Even though
okay.
they gave- even though they gave- Even though they gave Michael a horrible review, but don't listen to them. Listen to Gino and Oof. We gave the movie 2 thumbs up.
To
We
be fair,
gave it-
I'm
to be
listening to you
fair,
because I'm going to go see it. So I'm listening to you guys.
there
I'm
you
going
go.
on Saturday.
And I hope you enjoy it, Dave, because if you're a Michael fan or just like his music, you will like the movie.
I love his music.
For so many of their reviews, including that review of the P.I. Mouse video game. They're one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? Clowns right now of the critic industry for video games. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, so I mean that's why it's important to, find maybe some people that you trust their opinion maybe more than others. Whether you agree or disagree, they do a good job explaining what they think, and you kind of just go with that more than the other, somebody with star ratings that doesn't seem to have a ceiling to where those stars can stop, things like that. But we're going to throw it now over to C-Rod. Thank you, Oofman. C-Rod, to you, what makes a good wrestling show?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that everybody said so far. The biggest thing is there has to be these storylines that we're invested in. A great wrestling show, it makes you care about what you're watching. And, my question was going to be, it really depends on if it's a weekday show or if it's a PLE, because they're very, very different in how they're presented.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest things, for the weekday show is it also has to be a drama. We want to see the biggest stars on the mic. We want to see these two not just wrestling or 3 or whatever, but getting in the ring and cutting these promos. I mean, some of the best work in wrestling is when the legends are making promos. And, for me, I feel like WWE has just it's the same promos. You can tell when somebody's going to get jumped, or it's the same matches. We're seeing a lot of singles matches, or then we're seeing tag teams, or then we're seeing factions do one-on-one against each other. And I'd like to see a little bit more stipulations involved. I have recently started watching AEW for the first time, and they throw stipulation matches on, regular weekday shows. And it's a nice change of pace where everything's not just a singles match or a tag match. Like I feel like Raw and SmackDown do all the time. Or if there's a faction involved, that somebody's going to live it, I'm thinking of Liv Morgan. Sorry.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to jump in, or that match is going to get ended by a DQ, and you see it coming from a mile away. The other thing for me, and I think the most important, whether it's a weekday show or it's a PLE, there has to be a meaningful finish, just like Noah said. I want to be invested in what's going to happen next week. We all think back to the Attitude Era. It was must-see TV every single week. When that show ended, you're like, okay, what's next? What's next with The Rock? What's next with Mankind? What's next with Taker, Kane, Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, like whatever. I have to be there next week. And here we are. Multiple people have already said, SmackDown is a very forgettable show. I don't have to watch it every week. I can watch clips. And I think there was a stat going around. I don't know if it was Raw or SmackDown, but one of those shows, they had gone like 3 or 4 weeks without actually having a main event wrestling match. A lot of the times
it was Raw.
It was Raw.
It was Raw. Okay,
yeah, it was Raw.
Just a contract signing or a promo that led to an altercation, and then the show ends. And it's the main event. Like, give me a wrestling match. Do that promo stuff before. Do the contract signing before. The people that are there, give them something to go home happy about. So it's, I don't know, whatever it might be. My biggest thing is a meaningful finish, and I think that's one of the best things that can make a great show.
If there was ever an era that had a perfect formula consistently across TV and what is now known as PLE, it was my NXT. The black and gold and the takeovers was the perfect formula of storytelling, competition, action-packed, aggressive, passion, variety nature within 1 hour, even going to 2 hours before Vince killed it and turned into Rainbow Bright bleep. It was one of those things, though, with Black and Gold had the perfect capture of wrestling and storytelling, and takeovers truly took over you as a wrestling fan. And I don't think anything will ever touch that. AEW back in its heyday had a chance to for quite a while. And I love the pay-per-views, but again, you got to consider everyone else is not me. So I also consider everyone else's opinion too. That's why I don't get anyone else's case about how they feel about AEW or other companies, etc. Hell, I had more fun this month covering Ring of Honor live and Joey Styles, and I'm going to have even more fun covering Double or Nothing Pride live this weekend than I am going to be covering Clash in Italy. It is what it is when it comes to that level of variety and quantity and quality of what you're getting in a product versus what they're advertising, quote unquote advertising.
And Noah, me and my older times, and even Oofman, we've shared this a few times. My heyday was the Monday Night Wars. Monday Night Wars, and Chris mentioned about the Attitude Era, but the Monday Night Wars were both WWE and WCW were trying to one up each other every week. It was amazing. That was an amazing time in wrestling.
Yeah, and
I
just want to add to.
Don't forget surprises too. Just like we just had with Brock Lesnar, we just talked about. That was a surprise, and like Noah just said, the advertisement. I don't think that makes a good show when you're telling everybody exactly what's going to happen. But a good show is when there's even surprises, even something as simple as Brock Lesnar coming to attack Obafemi. Sorry, Oofman.
No, yeah, I just want to add what you said, Chris. You have people again who lived through the Attitude Era going, oh man, I wish Raws and Nitros were 3 hours back then. Oh hell no, that would be overkill. And again, I remember going to Continental Airlines and the Garden for the Raws and the SmackDowns. 2 hours was just fine. You got your dark matches, you got Heat, Velocity, you got the main show, and then they would stay 10, 15 minutes afterwards. It'd be the Rock and Austin stunning angle for like 77,000 times. 2 hours was just fine. And like Gino said, it left you hanging. The stories were so good in the Attitude Era where come 11 o'clock, if you're watching at home, a hard stop at 11 o'clock, like, damn, I need to tune in next week. So this whole, let's put 3 hours at the Attitude Era. No. I would probably not be gung-ho about it. It was perfect at its 2 hour peak because like Gino said, it got you hyped for the next week, for the next show. And like Dave said, we were there with the remote flipping back and forth because it got us those couple years of the Attitude Era for the Monday Night War. It held us. And again, just imagining 3 hours every week, I would probably go insane probably.
Well, what do you think people did during the time that Raw was 3 hours, Oofman? Just saying. That was a better part of a decade.
Well, exactly, yeah.
So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your opinions. I'm just going to finish off here by saying I think that length matters. I would like my television shows to be 2 hours with maybe a little bit of overhang, similar to how AEW Dynamite is doing that now, because it doesn't have a hard end, because nothing pisses me off more than knowing here comes the finish because we're right at the last minute of the show. like that was, and they did that in the Attitude Era. You know, it was 9 to 11 the Raws, so it started a little later. It was more, it felt more adult. So when I was younger, I was a kid. It felt like I was watching stuff that was, you know, maybe I wasn't supposed to be watching. And then they had the, you know, it was sexier kind of back then, and a little, maybe you could argue more violent back then, and all those things that, you know,
a little sexier.
Yeah, well, I'm trying not to make that the point, but
I remember.
yeah, but
I
wrestling.
remember Raw starting at 8:57.
Yeah,
And 3 minutes. 8:57, 7:57 Central.
Did it freaking hype up with that video package that was more aggressive and gritty about what WWF was meant to bring you? Attitude. I know what you're talking about, Oofman. Continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, length matters. I would like a little bit longer, maybe PLEs for WWE, but at the same time, the pay-per-views with AEW to me seem like they are very, very long. But at the same time, they're charging per view, not per month. So they have to feel like you're giving people a reason to buy and giving people their money's worth. So I get it. Like, I'm not like trying to be like they don't know what they're doing. Just for me, like, starting at 8 or 9 and then going into the wee hours of the morning is it's difficult, but you know, there does need to be some comedy. The storytelling in the ring, C-Rod mentioned it. You know, AEW does this well. They have stipulation matches, and I think that's one of the things that really made Raw this past week feel like one of the better shows of the year. We had a street fight. We had tornado tag. Like, I felt like the matches were what I would book in like a WWE 2K My Universe. Like, I'm not doing just straight up 1v1 singles with countouts on and disqualifications on. Like, give me a little variety. Like, clearly not everything is going to make the premium live events if Asuka and Io couldn't make WrestleMania. So, like, give us a little bit of variety on the shows. Like, tornado tags, I think, are some of the greatest things ever. It's hard to keep focus on with production and camera. Who cares? Like, I want to see these things. Like, it feels authentic. And we all grew up at least playing the video games, and nobody picked 1v1. Like, give me a special guest referee. Give me, you know, falls count anywhere. I love, like, when was the last time a match ended? Okay, Drew versus Cody, I believe, kind of ended outside of the ring with their the 3 stages of hell match or whatever. But that was on a SmackDown. And that was fantastic episode of SmackDown. Even if one thing outshines the rest, like, give me some of that, like tables matches, even, or just anything else out of the ordinary, because it does feel wicked generic, and we've got more wrestling options now than we ever have before. And so that makes it easy to recognize when things feel predictable or familiar, or, oh, somebody's going to interfere here. Like, at least on Raw, they interfered, and Dom and Finn stayed in the ring, like Aaron mentioned, until the match ended, until, you know, Dom hit Finn or JD on accident and things like that. Like, there's no reason, if you're not going to get disqualified, like, stay in and help. Don't just stand on the outside. Like, things that we would do playing a WWE 2K video game or an AEW Fight Forever video game are the things that I feel like they should be doing to make the television shows more enjoyable. WWE pay-per-views need to be longer, and for the love of God, television show tapings need to stop cutting to commercial in the middle of matches. What a disgrace to your talent to do that, because I get it. You want people to not tune away from the commercials, but nobody who's watching Raw is going to then not come back to it once the commercials are over, and blah, 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 blah. So it just doesn't make any sense. The picture-in-picture's okay. It's a good compromise, but I still would rather you respect the match. Like, give us commercials, as many as you want. I mean, don't go carried away, but between the matches, when stuff that we don't need to see, because I actually watch Raw and SmackDown through the high seas, and that feed has what the crowd in the audience is seeing. And during commercial breaks, they're getting wrestlers coming out into the crowd and doing these interviews with Byron Saxton and stuff like that. Like, Liv Morgan cut this huge promo, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't on the television show. That was just what you were there seeing live. Right. Which, it's more enjoyable for me. Like, do that. Do other things that just make it feel more authentic. But at the end of the day, I really appreciate you all, and I feel like we gave some good points. It's all subjective, just like movies. If you're entertained and you enjoy it, great. If you're not entertained, you know, you can complain through the right channels, or at least express what you would like to see done differently. don't necessarily just complain for complaint's sake. Or if you're piggybacking off stuff, like if I don't watch AEW and then I'm piggybacking off complaints of other people, like just to justify me not watching, that also feels a little shoddy. So let's, enjoy the things we enjoy and have rightful criticisms of the ones we don't. But I'm going to throw it around. Noah, where can the people find you and us sometimes?
Well, it's going to be a fun week because it's Wednesday. You know what that means. Double or Nothing Week is officially live and kicking things off and talk about dynamic matches, eliminator match, world championship match, 8-woman tag, as well as an anything goes match with Monster Chop and Mark Briscoe. Cannot wait for this 3-hour special. But as far as me, if you want to find me if you choose or try to at Foster1916 on the X and on YouTube. I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! Again, tomorrow night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. Simply predicting will be for AEW Double or Nothing. And, of course, those in the All Elite League, including the panelists here. Stay tuned for the forum. You know where it will be on the social medias and my community tab, as always. Following that, we have Double or Nothing coverage live this weekend at the Super Reliable Studios, and I will be on the call as Mr. Play-by-Play. As part of bringing more tournament coverage for the Superman's brand, I will be covering all the Owen Hart Foundation tournament matches, by the way, live through the duration of the tournament, so stay tuned for more on that. And then, of course, me and Papadino will break it down 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday night with Predictions League Breakdown after AEW Double or Nothing. Also, stay tuned to Super Reliable Studios. We have a lot of interviews coming up, so check out JJ and the crew interviewing Jack Cartwheel, Brittany Brooks, and Kid Bandit, and much more to come. But as always, let it conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, and protect your mentality too, and treasure your families, just their life, and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that.
Thank you, Noah. Yes, Predictions League Breakdown. Noah's got all that other stuff, but that is the one that I enjoy the most because I am, a welcomed addition to that, and we have fun doing that. So you can check out all your things. Don't forget to get your predictions into Noah because he works really hard on that, and it's a lot of fun, you guys. It's a lot of fun to do this, whether there's something on the line or just bragging rights. It's a lot of fun. Go check that out. Check out his channel at nfoster1916. Oofman, where can the people find you?
Well, again, guys, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome. Again, it's beyond with you guys. Check me out at my channel, Oofman Entertainment Presents my series, Gabbing with Oof. You see a lot of these guys on there. Me and Dave, we chatted, we gabbed about WrestleMania 17 X7 all those years ago. We are the old men of no DQ, but that's perfectly fine. Me and Gino, we went at it. We attacked the critics of the Michael movie going, what were you expecting and why you didn't get it? So, and also, anytime anybody wants to be on the show, feel due. For future projects right now, this weekend, I'm going to commemorate the loss of Owen Hart. We lost him 27 years ago this Saturday. And next week is the big series that I'm starting on my channel, where it was 30 years ago next Wednesday, I believe, the 27th, Scott Hall walked down the stairs, jumped over the railing, and you want a war? You're going to get it. Yes, it's going to be 30 years since the NWO. 30 freaking years. Where is time going? And that's going to be a 3-part series, starting with part 1 of Scott Hall really returning to WCW and declaring war. And other than that, again, guys, thank you so much for having me. And Gino, you the man, brother.
Thank you so much. Yeah, big shout out to Oofman for allowing us to be able to do this live. Super helpful. Hopefully we'll get to see his face in motion moving forward. Well, we'll see how that goes.
You'll see me tomorrow, and shout out to Aaron and the No D2 crew. We'll be doing predictions for not only Double or Nothing tomorrow night, we'll be doing Saturday night's main event as well. So check out the channel tomorrow night, nodq.com, YouTube. Just check that out.
What a random predictions.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have 4 matches, and they're maybe super predictable. But Dave, where can the people find you?
Well, they can find me here with you guys, and shout out to Major Push Wrestling and Gino for having me from almost the beginning with you. And I want to be here until we soar to the top. And see me on No DQ. I'll be with Oofman tomorrow night on the prediction show. I'll be joining him, and I'll be looking forward to joining him with the 30-year anniversary of the NWO and the Monday Night Wars, because I want to be a part of that with him on those shows. It'll bring back a lot of great memories as I get older, but I still have my memory. and that thank God for that. And definitely keep an eye out on Noah's station and Chris and C-Rod's station. We want to support all our friends and all our buddies because we're all a big family and we support each other, and that's how it should be. And thank you again, Gino, and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And yeah, again, shout out to No DQ for bringing most of us together. And C-Rod, where can the people find you?
At Crod's Pod, the You Good podcast. We are dropping episodes every Thursday at 8 a.m. Oofman and Papagino will be on episode 48, the list that started a civil war. We talk, we talk MCU rankings. As a DC fan, I had some very controversial takes. Oofman and Papagino made sure that they put me in place, though. Outside of that, we talk mental health. It is a very positive experience. I'm very excited to keep growing and having more people that are a part of this wrestling network and universe be a part of it. But at Crod's Pod, the You Good podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere that you get your podcast.
All right. Thank you so much. And as always, guys, you can find us right here on my channel on YouTube or any of the collaborating channels, Noah, C-Rod, Oofman, and Major Push Wrestling's dedicated channel, which we're working on getting that up. I can't seem to link StreamYard to go live on there, so we'll have to figure out what's going on with that. But yes, so yeah, happy Wednesday, everybody. Enjoy Dynamite. Enjoy your life. Everybody deserves it. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, folks.
Peace.